So, hello everyone. Welcome to the Book Nerds podcast, and we're so happy to have you here because we have such a wonderful guest with us today, Pratibha. Welcome to the podcast, and please tell me how are you doing?
I'm good, Nidhi. Thank you for inviting me here. And hello, everyone. Great to be here. And really looking forward to this session and have conversation on books, reading, and my journey as an author. Thank you.
And everybody, you'll be excited to know that Pratibha is such a versatile writer. Like, I was so fascinated to go through the list. She has worked on children's literature, she has worked on romance novels, and there's also paranormal like dribbled in. And it is also fantastic, Pratibha. I'm so fascinated by all of it. And you also write about mindfulness and clarity and internal peace. And may I know how it please tell me more about yourself and all these various books that you've written.
Yes, thank you, Nidhi. So, Nidhi, I started writing around 2010. um, I won't say I started, I'll say I resumed because writing has been a passion for me from my childhood. Uh, in the beginning, it was mostly reading. As a child, you love reading books. I used to love books on illustrations, fairies, leprechauns, pixies. So I remember as early as five, whenever I used to go with my dad to the bookshops, I would fly to the bookshelf and get a book on illustrations. So reading was a passion right from a young age. And so then when I was in the fourth standard, I came across this book called The Diary of Anne Frank. And that book is very popular with the young people, and she's the one who guided me to keep a diary. So from then on, I started keeping a diary, and it was mostly about scribbling your daily accounts, daily anecdotes and all that, just scribbling and writing and enjoying yourself as a child. So around 12 years, I started with my first poem because the school magazine asked us to contribute articles. So I started with my first poem, The Rose. And then slowly the love for poetry grew. It grew right through high school, college, and university, and writing mostly articles and submitting for the school magazine or the university resources. So writing was a passion, and I also got ambitious, and once I wrote a Reader's Digest, I sent some articles, and of course they returned it back. Those envelopes, we used to get those return mail. So all through university, writing went on, but I was into my IT career, and again, writing took a backbone, and mostly it was pursuing your career, being serious. And it was mostly reading while going to the office. Reading never lost its appeal. I kept in touch with books. But then I was working in Bangalore. Then I came back to Guwahati, and I joined my husband's business. We had our own IT business. And even in IT, you need to do a lot of writing. We have technical writing, content writing. And so somehow around 2010, I got the idea that maybe I should write. Some idea grew in me that I want to write something. I want to write something of my own, maybe a technical book. But then, something dawned in me, and I started with a children's book. So then the Magical Adventures of Lolly and Lenny, the first volume started, and it got published in 2012. So from then on, it started. And on the side, I kept writing poetry. I have my own blog where I submit articles on mindfulness, personal development. I also submitted to the Assam Tribune, which is a daily newspaper, quite popular in the Northeast. It's the highest publishing daily. So that's what I fulfill my passion and keep writing in this different genres, you can say.
Wow, that's so wonderful. And
Yeah.
as you mentioned that you started with children's literature, the magical adventures of Lolly and Lenny. And then you
Yes.
moved on to romance novels like Redemption. And then there's
Hmm.
paranormal thriller, which we have here, Child of Paradise. And I am very interested to know how you made that journey from, children's literature to paranormal.
Yes. Nidhi, I was writing children's books. It's more middle grade fantasy, more like Harry Potter, Percy Jackson. It was more fantasy magic. So I decided my area will be paranormal or fantasy. So after Magical Ventures of Lolly and Lenny, I switched to a little bit of an adult novel, young adult novel, which is, it was a fantasy suspense novelette. It's not a short story, it's not a novel, it's a novelette in between. So I started with that, and then while writing that, I was planning to continue with my children's series also, and little bit of adult, more in the lines of fantasy and paranormal, but a little bit of for the adult genre, because I got a lot of experience writing the middle grade series. So while I was writing that, this Child of Paradise, the story, that I started seeing flashes, images of that story. It kept haunting me. It kept haunting me, coming into me. It was more of a mystery and a thriller, and I thought I didn't have it in me to write a mystery or a crime novel, because that is quite a, because fantasy is something, where you are the creator, you create your own rules, you're the master of that kingdom, you can bend rules and nobody's going to question you, or yeah, I mean, you can get away with a lot of things because it's purely your imagination. But when you write a crime thriller or a mystery novel, your research has to be good. Every scene, every crime procedure, everything should be in place. Otherwise, you can't play with the stuff. Readers will see the bluff, and your book will lose its appeal. So I didn't I thought it was maybe the glamour of writing a crime mystery novel like Agatha Christie. Maybe that was some fancy that caught up with me. But then, that story, it was very psychic. The story kept haunting me. I kept seeing scenes and flashes, images of that story. It kept haunting me. And even there was one of my favorite musician, Maxim. He used to play a lot of this music called Child in Paradise. It's a very the music is very it goes towards climax, very haunting music. So that music also used to play, and I used to keep seeing these images, and then I thought maybe I should start writing the book. And the book was kind of, there was a paranormal bent to it, because the images were very random, but when I wrote the story, it fitted very well into the all the scenes blended very well into the story in a sequence. So I think that was very psychic, more of paranormal kind of touch in writing that novel, Child of Paradise.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like that book really wanted you to write about it.
Right,
You know?
right,
And
right.
so, since we're talking so much about Child of Paradise, I would love to know a little bit more. As you mentioned that this is not purely fantasy, so you'll have to do your research and come up with things that are more appropriate. So I would love to know how you went about it, and were you satisfied with it? How was the work?
Yes, actually, Nidhi, Child of Paradise has a lot of paranormal stuff, such as psychics and ghost hunters, afterlife, spirits, spirit guides, mediums. It touches a lot on those themes. You know what happened, Nidhi? Actually, because of the loss of my loved ones, people I loved very early on in life, I was quite interested in the afterlife, about paranormal hauntings, or how, people, they have a sense of people, the spirits of people who have left them. So I was very interested in the afterlife kind of stuff. And so, I came across a lot of psychics and mediums. There was this site some years back called Orenum. So there used to be a lot of psychics, and they used to give a lot of free readings. And sometimes, those readings used to be very uncanny. They used to feel very authentic, whatever happened in the past, or it used to tally with whatever you went through in your life. So I came across the psychics, and I got to know a lot about afterlife, spirits, and mediums. So this story is also similar, because the main character of the story, Tia, she gets a lot of dreams, which are either prophetic, or they bring a meaning to her life. So she's haunted by a lot of dreams, and she refuses to accept the conventional, and which is a catalyst in helping her solve the mystery in her sister's, the murder mystery. Her sister gets murdered. So this refusal to believe the police, whatever results they had given out, the police findings, so leads her to solve the mystery. So she gets a lot of dream, and which are very symbolic, and which helps her to solve the mystery surrounding her sister. And so there are a lot of psychics, and as I said, ghost hunters, paranormal investigators, mediums, afterlife in this novel. Plus, I also touch upon the corporate life. From my experience of my corporate life, I touch upon how people become very ambitious to pursue their corporate dreams at the cost of at the cost of their you know of what you can say, they become unscrupulous.
Yeah.
They take dishonest means to fulfill their dreams. So it's a corporate tale of deceit, betrayal, and lust and greed. So it combines both. It's a mystery thriller with a paranormal touch, and it also brings elements of the corporate lives here, where people pursue their dreams at the cost of other people's lives, you can say.
Yeah, I think that is what I find most interesting about your writing is that there's so many types of things because there's no one-dimensional writing. It's like a person lives a life. Okay, there could be a mystery, there could be some thrilling elements, but a life is still a life. There's so many things attached to it. You have to work for your means, and so that was all shown, and I really admired it honestly because there's so we as humans are multidimensional, and that is what is portrayed in your book. So that makes a lot of sense. Which
Hmm.
again, we come to your latest novel, Butterflies in the Storm.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I think again with that specifically, you've done this wonderfully. Like you've taken an Age of Coming novel and given it so many elements that it just seems like a drama. What do you say about that? Like, please talk more about this book.
Yes. So, Butterflies in the Storm is a coming of age novel, and here the character evolves through various stages of emotional and mental development as the story progresses. So, we follow the character's journey through her personal growth and development as she finds her way in life and tries to stand on her own feet. So, you can say it explores the character's transition to maturity, as she faces a lot of turmoil and inner conflicts while overcoming the traumatic events in her life. So um, it we get to see the journey of the character as she goes through various stages, such as self such as such as being aware of her sexuality, adjusting to her peers, because when children grow up as young adults, there's a lot of adjustment period with their peers,
Yes.
falling in love, dealing with death, um, developing mature thinking. And at the same time, she also becomes aware of human conditions such as depression, suicide, molestation, and different complexities of adult life. So that is what Butterflies in the Storm is all about.
And you have done a wonderful job of, just summarizing it right now.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell the audience that this is so much more, and there is so many stories attached to it, and sub plot lines that I really like. And
Hmm.
another thing that I find very interesting and very
Hmm.
imaginative actually are the titles of your book,
Hmm.
like Child of Paradise and Butterflies in the Storm. So please tell me, how do you come up with this? And, do you specifically come up with this particular imaginative titles?
Yeah. Actually, Nidhi, as I told you, again, Butterflies in the Storm was again like just like Child of Paradise, where I was not intending to write it, and it came over. The story grew and haunted me, and I started writing. Similar case was with Butterflies in the Storm. It was very natural and organic kind of a process. After Child of Paradise, I was planning to write the sequel. So which and in fact I've started it parallelly. So it is again mystery thriller with a paranormal edge. But then again again this story came to me in the form of scenes and flashes in my mind, and but I was not planning to write in the genre of contemporary romance or coming of age. I was mystery or paranormal or fantasy were more my thing. I was not intending to write in this genre. But again, the story kept chasing me, haunting me, and it kept growing every day. The scenes, I could feel how the story would go, how different scenes would unfold. So this kept growing, and but what happened? Child of Paradise was quite heavy, quite draining. It was quite intensive writing that book, because it involved a lot of research regarding crime procedures, criminology. I had to interview a lot of people from the police department or the crime branch. I had to know a lot. I couldn't play around with the thing. There was forensic science and criminology and so much. So it was quite draining for me. So since Butterflies in the Storm kept haunting me, I kind of took refuge in starting to write it, and I enjoyed it because there was not much research involved here. There was research, I'll tell you where, but it was more an inspirational led story. I could relate to it more. It was more an emotional story. The emotions I could relate to, so it was led by inspiration. So I started writing Butterflies in the Storm. So as you said, how did that come with the title of the book? This here this for this I have to tell you a bit about the story. So the
Yeah.
story goes, yeah. So the story goes like this: is that Ria, the protagonist, she's an 18-year-old teen, and she doesn't have parents. She lives on the charity of her relatives, and so she has a lot, because of that she has a lot of struggles in her life, both financial and emotional. And that's why her relationship with her family, like her cousins, her relatives, and even her peers, are considerably strained and difficult. So so what happens is, dealing with this emotional difficulties, and trying to overcome these negativities in the form of jealousy, malice, exploitation, domination. A lot of people try to bully her. So trying to cope up with this. So while doing this, there's a lot of angst in her life, and she so it in fact threatens this emotional difficulty. It threatens her motivation, her goals in life, in fact her very sanity. So Ria, the protagonist, she realizes it early on life that life isn't fair to someone like her who doesn't have a strong backup or a voice to stand up for her, or even monetary backup. So, but the novel starts in a lighter vein. It starts with campus tales, sprinkled with fun moments, sweet friendships, college fun, teasing around, then crushes, light romances. At the same time, it also deals with student dilemmas in a university, such as um, peer pressure, rat race competition, coming of age struggles, and dealing with complexities of relationships. So, but as the story progresses, chapter by chapter, it gets deeper and heavier, because Ria has to deal with a lot of alienation and exploitation, because of the situation in her life. She is a girl without parents, and a woman's struggle is brought to light here, and how society targets her vulnerabilities, and she's often judged. So um so that's what Ria, she's a bright teenager. She copes with a lot of financial difficulties. Her cousins are jealous, her aunts are very manipulative, she has a controlling brother. But she deals with all this with a lot of stoicism and wisdom, quite unnatural for someone like her. She you can say, she her the her lack of financial and parental support makes her very delicate and fragile, like a butterfly. So the butterfly used in the title is a
Yeah.
metaphorical. It is a metaphor, just like a butterfly is the most fragile insect in the animal kingdom, and we can't imagine it surviving a storm where skyscrapers and buildings and machinery and cars are blown away, uprooted miles away. So, but Ria, with she faces a lot of her relatives, they take her for granted. They are blind to her feelings and necessities. So so it's very difficult for her, but she deals with all of this with a lot of patience, and she accepts the lack in her life, and she deals with them with determination and grit. So she uses her soft power, just like her soft power, which is patience, grit, determination. She tries to not to get provoked easily by the people who try to frame her up, and all that. So she uses just like the butterfly uses its defense mechanisms to survive the storm, to survive the wild forces of nature. So does Ria uses her soft power to survive herself, facing while facing the difficulties in her life. So in the process she gets through, and she gets through one of the top universities. She gets a scholarship and admitted in one of the top universities. But she's very happy in the university. She feels that finally she's made it, and life is finally very good for her. But soon her beauty and brains catch many an eye, and there are a lot of devious elements who try to frame her, set her up, who trap her in a game of revenge. There are a lot of revenge games. So there's a lot of suspense element all throughout the novel, as Ria tries to get away from a lot of situations, traps and setups in her life from the people who are jealous of her or who hate her. And so that's what there's that's the term, butterflies in the storm. She Ria, in spite of the her fragility in the form of financial troubles, people treating her ill treatment from her relatives, she tries to survive every storm by living one day at a time and facing all her difficulties with patience, grit, and determination. So that's why the title, Butterflies in the Storm. And I hope it is
Wow.
inspirational for others too.
Yes, yes, that was very beautifully explained. The way you mentioned
Thank you,
all the
Nidhi.
soft power, and because people always assume that having things like grace and patience takes a lot of effort, but it really
Right,
doesn't. You can
right.
work on it, and this is something that can actually improve your life.
Exactly, exactly, Nidhi. You're right.
So, and the way you've mentioned all of this, I'm very interested to know that what is your writing process? How do you plan or research a book? How do you go about it?
Yes, Nidhi. So the thing is, at first, if I get some ideas, usually you'll get it. It is ideas are unplanned. You might get while walking in the park or reading some newspaper article or some incident, or maybe overhearing someone's ideas can just come to you. So so you to be inspired, of course you have to go to those places which inspire you. Maybe go for a walk in the park, or listen to music, whatever inspires you. So once the idea comes, you do a lot of research on the idea. So for me, usually I research on the idea, but as I told you, Butterflies in the Storm was very inspirationally led. There were already scenes in my mind. So what I do is, first of all, when I get a story idea, I write the idea into one or two lines. I write the basic idea, like what is the goal of the girl. The girl tries to be someone, be a woman of substance, or whatever. The boy tries to meet an alien. Whatever, you write it in one or two lines. That is the story goal. And after that you write a bit of the character. You need to imagine your character, give it a name, give some personality traits, so that you're going to talk about someone. It's a real person. So
Yes.
you write a little about the character, and then from then on, you write about the setting. Where does the story take place? What is the location? How does it feel like? Is it too much of a rainy weather or a sunny weather? So you start with the idea, which you write in 2 3 lines. You write about little about the character, and then you write about the of the setting. After that, you go back to that idea which you wrote in 2 3 lines, and then you explore that idea. You question, you explore the goals of the character. What could be the goals? What are its objectives? What are the obstacles it is facing? What kind of goal is it? Is it a financial goal? Is it a career goal? Or is it about falling in love and finding the winning the person she loves? So you write about the goal, character's goal. So you write into around 1 or 2 paragraphs, and after that again you go, you write that, and then again you go back to the character and write a little more about the character, then add some supporting characters around it. Just 1 2 lines, just sketchy, just rough, not like, it should not be like definite and specific. And then yeah, you write the relation between the characters. You write a little bit about the antagonist, and how that will create difficulty for the main character, and so on. So after you finish that in 2 3 pages, you write about the summary and about the characters. You again go back to the main summary and you flesh it out a bit. You divide it into 3 paras. Maybe there will be a beginning, there'll be middle, there'll be an end. The beginning will have the, say, exposition and the inciting incident. Exposition is where you write about the character, how she is in her daily life, what happens to her, her background, her backstories. You can write about that. That's the exposition, how the novel will begin. And then you write about an inciting incident, where it leads to a series of events which sets the story flowing. So the inciting incident will start the story. Previously, the character will be in will not be, even if there are difficulties in their life, they won't want to change, but this inciting incident will change the status quo, and the character will take steps to change their life. So that is the beginning part of your novel. Then the middle part of the novel, there will be those confrontations, those uh, the character starts, instead of reacting, it starts to take actions. There'll be mini victories and failures, and so on. The drama will start intensifying. So that is the middle, where you write little bit how you envisage the story to be. And then we have the third part of the this thing, the ending, which will have the pre-climax, the climax, and the resolution of the story. So here it is where where there's a lot of action and drama, and the drama is the highest. It reaches the climax over here, and slowly the story winds down, and there are lots of mini plots which are resolved. Resolution takes place. The audience kind of comes to know what happens, how the characters end up. It's a happy or it is a sad ending, and so on. So you have 3 divisions of your story, which is the beginning, the middle, and the end. And after that, for each of those division, you write certain scenes. Like there might be, you can write it very roughly in 1 line or 2 line. Just write pointers to it. First scene will be in 1 line, you write, so 10 scenes. Then second part of the novel, which is where the middle part of the novel, you again write another 10 scenes. The third part, you write the 10 scenes. So next, you each of the scenes, you kind of expand it, flesh it out, and write more, maybe a paragraph, 4 5 lines, about 4 5 lines on it, and so on. So each of the scenes have been divided, and but the thing is, you can follow 3 act structure. You can, for the beginning, you can create 10 chapters in your mind. In your, you can have a software. I usually have a writing software called SpaceJog, which I use. So it has a dashboard where I can divide the characters, and I can write about the characters, the location, the subplots, and the chapters. So for in the 3 act structure, what you do is, in the beginning you have around 10 chapters, in the middle another 10 chapters, and the ending you have another 10 chapters. So from each of those scenes which you wrote, you keep expanding each of the chapters, and so on. So you go on writing and writing. You write a scene. If you're stuck, you go on to the next scene and maybe come back later. So you have your first, in the, I mean, following this process, you get your first draft, which may be of 30 chapters, and then you start your next edit.
Wow.
So that is the writing process which I usually follow. Nidhi, if you want,
Wow.
I can
Thank
just
you
show
so much.
I can show just a quick glance of Butterflies in the Storm, my first draft, and
Yeah,
how
yeah,
I
yeah, of
started
course.
and all. So I just show you quickly. You might use it in the video, you might not. It's up to you totally. So this is, I started with the page where I wrote the title and I wrote my name, and I said it will be a romantic suspense novel. So then I kind of wrote about word count, how many chapters will be required, so how many words will I write daily. So this is the beginning. So then again, the start of chapters, as I told you, write one line, one line, one line for each of the chapters. Just rough, very sketchy, nothing is definite here. Then after this, what I used to do is, there will be lots of, I do a lot of cluster diagrams in mapping the way the characters are related to each other. So like, suppose the main character Ria, how she's related to the different characters, then different situations in her life, what happens to her, so and so on. And so each of the chapters, there will be one or two lines, but some chapters, if there are a lot of, there might be some major plotting, like see, these are a lot of clusters I've created. So the relationship between the characters, then different situations that happens with the character. And so then after that, each of the chapters will be like, 1 second, I'll just you can cut off in between, you can
No,
cut
no, no.
off
This is so
in the page.
insightful, all of this.
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, yeah. So each of the chapters, I told you they were one line, so they will be like paragraphs. Now they will be paragraphs, scribbling lots. It's very rough and sketchy, and a lot of scribbling, writing around, and some of the chapters might need detailing. It might be a scam kind of thing, or the heroine, she's a protagonist, she's trapped and somebody's trying to frame her up. There might be some investigation, or so that chapter, I will be like chapter 22, I have written 2 pages of it. So that will be more detailing and all. So this is the process. And so finally, each of these paragraphs will be written into one chapter each. So once that is completed, there were 38 chapters here. So once that is completed, that is the first draft. Then go on to keep editing that into four couple of, I think, 4 times, and then it is then the final edit, and it is sent to the editor, and she goes starts editing the book. So this is the process of writing.
And guys, whoever's like watching, this is what it became. Like that notebook turned into this beautiful novel. And wow, that was writing masterclass. I'll be really honest, the way you explained
Thank
all
you,
of it.
Nidhi. Thank you.
That was, I'm pretty sure our audience appreciates it as well. This is so insightful for all the young authors who are always a bit confused as to how they go about it, if they're doing enough or not. And you just solved all their problems.
It's great if it helps them. Thank you, Nidhi.
No, definitely,
Wonderful
definitely.
words.
And since we're talking so much about books, I am very interested to know now which is your favorite author or, your favorite book. And another thing, have they ever made it into the story? Have they made, a glimpse of their writing or their characters into your story?
Nidhi, my favorite authors, I mean, authors, they keep changing as per, your age. When you're young, you kind of like um, those children authors, like my Anne Blyton was my favorite, then Carolyn Keene, Nancy Drew, she was my favorite, and then Agatha Christie still remains my favorite. She's like loved by all kinds of different age groups. So then after that, as I grew up, my this thing interest turned towards Barbara Taylor Bradford. She wrote that wonderful Woman of Substance series. Is very inspirational. How a poor girl, she becomes a business, runs a business empire. So that book was very inspirational. I used to write down inspirational, dialogues and lines from that book. So Barbara Taylor Bradford, Danielle Steele, she teaches a lot. Her stories are very inspirational. She teaches a lot on how to cope with different kind of struggles in life. Danielle Steele, then Nora Roberts. And now I like, I'm like, my reading involves different genres. I like children books, middle grade as well as adult books. I like JK Rowling, I love Harry Potter, I like RL Stein, Goosebumps. Yeah, even Stephanie Meyer's Twilight, I really love that
Yeah.
series. And then, and now mostly love self-help authors, Robin Sharma, Paulo Coelho, and recently I read Gaur Gopal Das. It was wonderful. So now it's like more self-help series. But again, I do read fantasy and paranormal books. I do read them once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah, and you said and you asked me whether they affected me. You know
Yeah.
what, Nidhi? I strongly feel that we should be more true to our own unique style, our own creativity, as and voice, as that is something which we own. It makes our writing more authentic. It makes it more appealing and unique, because the way we have grown up, how our perspectives have shaped up, only we know that, and we should bring it out. If we copy others, it won't sound more so authentic. So and Butterflies in the Storm is an inspirationally led story. I feel it's the hand of the divine, or intuition, you can say, if you don't believe in the divine. So, and many authors say that there are stories are already out there in the universe.
Yeah.
It is just the right person who has to channelize it, and depending on the interest and passion to express that particular message or theme. So I try not to. I try to express my own voice, but you know what happened? Children book series, you need to write more for children, so it has to be very more of a easy, simple language. And but when I wrote Child of Paradise, since it was an adult novel, I used to be very descriptive and detailed, and take time to build up the tension, because of my favorite authors in the like Barbara Taylor Bradford and Daniel Steele. They used to be very descriptive in their earlier novels and all. But nowadays the audience, they like a more fast paced novel, more action based, based. So I kept that in mind and made it more fast paced and action packed. I
So
hope that
you keep
answers.
up with the trends. Yes, of course. And this is so interesting. So you keep up with the trends, you like
Right,
assimilate
right,
into your book. And
right, right,
I think that's the best part of being an author and grow with the times, because
right.
stories are, you always want to tell stories, but the best way to tell them is how people are going to read it.
Yeah.
Wow. And the way you said, like the stories are out there in the universe, I read this somewhere. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the writer's
Yeah,
name,
and a lot of
but
authors, even Elizabeth Gray, she has also said about this. A lot of authors, and I feel it's true, because often, already I've seen the images. I don't. Sometimes I'm fighting. There are too many ideas and too many scenes, and I'm fighting to choose the story. Sometimes it's like that. So already I see the story, and when I wrote the title "Butterflies in the Storm," I never imagined it will come to this end, and the book will turn. The book is around 400 pages, almost around 400 pages. I tried to reduce the while designing book, reduce the gaps in between and bring it a little down. But those scenes and all, it's you feel very, it's very psychic. There's a divine hand, it's
I would
prophetic
say
and all
because stories knock on your door and it's up to you if you want to let them in. I completely
that.
believe that. And being
Right,
with like books for so long and working as an editor and for like, so I completely agree with you on that particular front.
right,
And
Nidhi.
wow. And I think a lot of people who are watching this are young writers who want, you've already given them a master class with all your explanation about writing process, but anything inspirational that you want to share with them?
Anything inspirational? Yes. uh See, what is for people who want to be writers? First, what I'll say is read a lot, because readers become writers. They read a lot, and write whenever you can. It doesn't matter, even if you're writing a simple post in Facebook, you know you are using your editing, your choice of words, the way you structure your sentences. So you create the habit of writing, and writing gets easier, it gets smoother. uh, it becomes more free flow. So start writing whenever you can. It might be in your diary, it might be a Facebook post or Instagram post. So take the opportunity. And nowadays there are a lot of opportunities, not like before. It's easier to be a writer because there are a lot of online resources available. You can create your own blog and start writing. You can share them. So start writing, and pursue your passion. Make it a habit. Inspiration doesn't come every day, but once you make it a habit of writing, it will take you through all situations, even when your mood is not there or you're facing a roadblock or writer's block, whatever. It's your habit which will help you through your writing journey. So make it a habit. And also, writing is a passion. Uh, Keep your daytime job, because if you don't have a daytime job, it will kill your creativity till you're settled. And it's a very difficult industry right now. It's very complex and competitive. So keep it as your passion till you are settled, as you make an income, good income as a writer. Yeah, that is
Wow,
my
that was,
advice to the audience.
yeah, that was very realistic. Thank you so much. And
Thank you, Niti.
uh, I'm so interested. Like, this was all so good. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us and sharing all your insights. And it was wonderful. This was definitely the writer's masterclass. This is gonna be the title, I'm telling you.
Thank you, Nidhi. And I love talking with you, conversing with you. Your energy was so vibrant, and sometimes with the right people, the right words come out, the right whatever you want to convey it come out. So you made it so easy, warm, and relaxing. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this session with Book Nuts. Thanks a lot, Nidhi, and
Thank you so
thank you,
much.
readers, for having me.
We are so glad to have you here and listen to all your stories. Thank you. And thank you, audience, for joining us. And please check out all the books by Pratibha. And I have the two of them with me, Child of Paradise and Butterflies in the Storm. They're wonderful. And the children's series as well. You can all find them on her website and on her socials. Check out the Book Nerd socials for more information. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Bye.